You know, they say you can judge a man by the company he keeps, and cynics might say you can judge a man by the enemies he makes, but can you judge a man for just driving people absolutely crazy? I think maybe you can, and I think maybe it's making my life a little easier, and I'll get to that in a minute. I'm Steve Green with Scott Ott and Bill Whittle, and this is Right Angle on BillWhittle.com. And listen, Donald Trump drives people, not just crazy, but actually to stupidity. And I've got the best example of this, guys. You probably saw this back in May, I think, the Rosie O'Donnell tweet where she's just fantasized in underpants gnome style about how to get rid of Trump. The tweet said, and the tweet was in all caps, which just, lets you know just how grounded Rosie is these days. When Trump goes, so does Sessions, and Gorsuch gets removed, Garland sworn in, every EO invalidated. And then supposedly President Hillary Clinton. And along those same lines, we had a post on Medium just in the last, 24, 48 hours from no less than Harvard law professor Lawrence Lessig, who's kind of a big deal. And he has a secret, well, not secret, stupid 5-point plan for getting us to President Hillary Clinton. And the 5 points are: if Trump is found to have colluded with Russia, he would be forced to resign or be impeached. And then step 2, when Trump is removed, Pence steps up to president, and then Pence resigns. That's right, Pence resigns too. So Paul Ryan then becomes president in step 3, and his first act is to name as his vice president Hillary Clinton. And that is step 4. And then step 5 is Ryan resigns, and Vice President Hillary Clinton is sworn in as president. Bill? Lawrence Lessig, big Harvard brain, law professor, knows the Constitution. How stupid has Trump made him?
Are we going to assume he's serious about this? Because I suspect he is.
Oh, yeah. Newsweek, which has gone so far left-wing, it's almost frightening. Newsweek wrote this thing up as an embarrassment.
Well, I detect one or two flaws in the theory, personally.
Do you? You used your microscope, did you?
My deep analysis of the political situation in America, my profound understanding of the Constitution, provides me with insight that some other people may not have.
Like a Harvard law professor.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
For example, if Donald Trump is impeached and Mike Pence becomes president, then according to that, when Pence resigns, Speaker of the House Paul Ryan becomes president. But that means that Pence has to resign within a few hours of Trump, right?
Yeah, he can't. Pence can't name his own veep.
No, that would that'd be silly. So needless to say, when this cascade of inevitability happens, it's all got to happen pretty quick, doesn't it? You're right about this driving people nuts. I still simply can't credit it with being real, but I suppose I really should. When you hear this kind of thing, for example, from Roseanne Barr, you think, okay, she actually believes this. Or she's telling her this so she can get through her day. When you hear this from a Harvard law professor, you're kind of stuck with two different choices, both unpleasant. Either the man has such a poor sense of humor that he can't write satire sufficiently well to not tarnish his reputation, or he actually believes in this, which is much worse. Where would you like to start? Paul Ryan appoints Hillary Clinton as his vice president before resigning.
Yes,
that's pretty
which would
impressive.
have to get approved by Congress, by the way. The GOP
by the Republican
Congress.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sure that would just sail through. What do you say about this, Steve? It's a great story because it is actual genuine insanity on the part of people who should know better. And I have to say, I'm really proud of the last 8 years because I can't remember anything kind of like this. I do remember thinking there were some cases where, well, maybe Benghazi might, have enough evidence or so on to start an actual probe. But I never had a. Let me just finalize by saying this. There were times when I thought there might be grounds for impeachment of Barack Obama, but that did not lead me ever to think that would lead to President Mitt Romney. Not ever, not once. So, there you go.
Oh, man. I've got a 5-point plan for getting us President Zombie Reagan. I swear to you, this thing is totally going to work.
I'm down.
Scott, listen, my friend, you mentioned during the backstage segment that this whole thing hinges. Step one, the crux of the 5-point Lessig plan hinges on there being actual collusion between Trump and Moscow. But we've got some breaking news on that front, don't we? And it doesn't look good for the Democrats, does it?
Well, yes, and I think Americans have good reason to suspect that pretty soon a major federal government investigation into collusion with Russia is going to bear fruit and is going to forever change the political destinies of some people. And I'm talking, of course, about the FBI's investigation into the deal that the Obama administration made to turn over 20% of the U.S. stockpile, so to speak, of uranium. And the Russian guy...
That part's the old news, though. We knew about that part. You've got some breaking news today, though.
That's right. And this is the breaking news part, is that the FBI actually has the goods on a Russian guy who was paying kickbacks, not only to grant no-bid contracts to some American firms in the process of transferring all this uranium, but also kickbacks to the Clinton Foundation. And people who should have, if they did not know about it, include Hillary Clinton and Eric Holder, who both sat, Eric Holder, former Attorney General, who both sat on the committee that had held sway over the decision about whether or not to do this uranium deal. So the whole premise of Lawrence Lessig's thing is that there's something there when it comes to the Russia-Trump linkage. And so far, nothing has been shown. However, if we're to believe this report out of the Hill, I mean, this is not Alex Jones. This is not one of these websites called libertieslightsaber.org or something like that.
Hey, I love those guys.
This is actually the Hill, reporting that the FBI had the goods on this Russian guy, and it was tracking documents and papers and had recordings, and none of this seems speculative at all. So who is really going to be brought down by all of this? I'm suspecting it's not going to be the President of the United States.
I just want to add, if this happens, if it turns out that this probe leads to Hillary Clinton, this will be 2 times that we've seen the divine flying boomerang of fate strike this woman in the back of the head after launching. She throws this thing at Donald Trump and it just comes back and knocks her out cold. And the first time was when she said fake news is what cost me the election. I never heard the term before that. And she managed to destroy the entire credibility of the mainstream media with that one expression. So yeah, if there's a loving God in heaven, Hillary Clinton will go to jail because of her connection to the Russians, brought about by the noise that she made about Donald Trump's connections to the Russians.
She can't help herself either. I mean, you probably saw the headline this week where she told some audience that we actually elected as president of the United States a guy who was a sexual molester on the order of Harvey Weinstein. Well, yes, we actually did, and it wasn't the first time.
It was in 1992.
That's classic. Well played.
Man, God loves each and every one of us, but apparently he really hates pantsuits. Listen, I wasn't sure how to wrap this up, but I think I've got it figured out now. Look, George W. Bush was a president I had some serious disagreements with, but I had some broad agreements with him too, and so it was my job as a political blogger to defend him on those issues where we did agree. And 8 years at George Bush, I gotta tell you, it was exhausting, in large part because Bush was so bad at defending himself and enunciating what the truth was, what the facts were, at least as he saw them. He let Katrina wash over him just as bad. I should say the media response to Katrina wash over him as badly as it hit New Orleans. I guess he kind of hoped that the truth will out. But let's face it, the left wing controls most of the news outlets, and no, the truth will not out. You've got to fight for it, and that was my job, day in, day out, for almost the entire Bush run, and I was just exhausted by it. I mean, at the end of it, I went, whew, I guess now I can spend the next 8 years fighting Obama, and then I was exhausted after that. Well, now we have a president, again, who I have some serious disagreements with, but I also have some broad areas of agreement with Donald Trump. But I got to tell you, the reason why he drives people to such distraction, the reason why he drives people crazy, the reason why he makes idiots out of Harvard law professors is we have, for the first time, a Republican president who stands up for himself, and they don't know what to do with it. Yeah, a lot of it's stupid. It's Twitter-based kind of catcalling, name-calling, whatever, but it works. It drives them crazy, and while they're being nuts publishing these, I don't know, what do you call that Lessig thing? A political masturbatory fantasy? I don't know. But whatever you want to call it, while the left is just driven to distraction by that, Trump is remaking the entire federal judiciary branch. He's appointing judges at a faster pace than Barack Obama did in his first year. And if he's going to have a positive legacy, that might just be it. And it's something I'm going to cheer on. But what I don't have to do is defend this guy from every little charge because he can do it himself. And you know what? That's going to make my next 3 to 7 years so much easier. So thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Lawrence Lessig, for revealing yourself to be the true idiot that you are. We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.